As the January 6th hearings continued, the committee linked the efforts in Georgia to Trump personally. They had evidence and a witness.
Brad Raffensperger is the 29th Secretary of State of Georgia, serving in this role since 2019. As an elected...
My job as Secretary of State is to make sure we have honest, fair, and accurate elections.
He's a very strong Christian, he's a very strong Republican, and he's very conservative. He was an engineer. Now, being an engineer allowed him to lean into the numbers and lean into the data. That he felt very comfortable with that, which is, a rare thing for anybody in politics, because engineers are very mathematical, very linear, not always the biggest personalities.
I looked at, as the Office of Secretary of State, is how do we really improve the process of elections? All 159 counties had new election equipment with a verifiable paper ballot ready for the election of 2020.
It was a phone call from the president that put Raffensperger at the center of the hearings.
Everyone, I'm going to conference you through to POTUS momentarily. One moment.
That phone call is one of the most powerful pieces of evidence that's come out of this post-election period.
The conference is now connected.
Hello? Mr. Raffensperger, are you on the line?
Mark Meadows reached out to my Deputy Secretary of State, and she called me, and I told her I didn't think that was a good idea. And we were kind of told that, no, we definitely need to have this conversation.
Oh, and Brad Raffensperger here.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. President, everybody is on the line, and just so, this is Mark Meadows, the Chief of Staff. So, Mr. President, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, Brad and Ryan and everybody. We appreciate the time and the call. If we could just go over some of the numbers, I think it's pretty clear that we won. We won very substantially, Georgia.
It shows how frantic and desperate President Trump had become by that phone call. I think it shows how his demands were fully removed from any kind of evidence.
So dead people voted, and I think the number is in the close to 5,000 people. And they went to obituaries, they went to...
I just listened to him talk. I was making some notes. Okay, 5,000, okay, great, I'll respond to that. But when I got an opportunity to, speak, then I just said, well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is your data's wrong.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong. So the actual number were two people that were dead that voted.
My job was just to respond with the facts. And if I had a different set of facts, I would have responded with whatever they were. Our job was to give him the true data, which I did.
But why wouldn't you want to find the right answer, Brad, instead of keep saying that the numbers are right? Brad, we just want the truth. It's simple. And the real truth is I won by 400,000 votes, at least.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't. No, you don't.
The former president was pushing to see if he could somehow, it would move me someplace. Because I think that's been an effective strategy for him over his business career and political career. The people tended to buckle instead of stand firm on their principles.
In Georgia, Trump had lost to Biden by 11,779 votes.
So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. Why do you keep fighting this thing? It just doesn't make sense.
We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Trump didn't understand. It just doesn't click. It didn't click with him that someone wouldn't just give in. It just did not occur to him that there was some higher level of loyalty to the law and the Constitution.
I knew that we had followed the law and we had followed the Constitution. And I think sometimes moments require you to stand up and and just take the shots when you're doing your job. And that's all we did. We just followed the law and we followed the Constitution. And at the end of the day, President Trump came up short. But I had to be faithful to the Constitution. And that's what I swore an oath to do.
This call becomes critical because it's recorded. We get to hear in the president's own voice how he's doing it, what he's doing, how he's putting pressure on these people.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
This is a scheme to overthrow an election. He knew the number that he needed to hit to change the outcome of the election.
And Trump accused Raffensperger himself of a crime, allowing election fraud.
It's more illegal for you than it is for them, because you know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense.
The President of the United States demanding that an election official find thousands of votes and then strongly implying that there would be criminal sanction in the event that those votes were not found. I mean, that is terrible evidence for the president.
What I knew is that we didn't have any votes to find. We had continued to look. We investigated, like I just shared the numbers with you. There were no votes to find.
That call is damning, and I think it's going to be damning potentially in front of a jury, because juries, when they can hear a defendant's voice on tape, when they can hear something that is that real and that visceral, it can be incredibly powerful testimony.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, President Trump, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
The defendant said that he needed to find 11,780 votes.
It shows him demanding a remedy that doesn't make any sense in the context of anything lawful. That's just asking, I want to win, you got to do it. I think it's going to be a very powerful call for that jury.
For his part, Trump has defended the phone call with Raffensperger, describing it as perfect.
A perfect phone call to discuss a rigged and stolen election and what to do about it, with many people, including lawyers and others, knowingly on the line.